everyone, and welcome to a brand new series coming across from HP Poly, which is what we call Pollinate. Hopefully, you like what the new name sounds like. If you don't, feel free to use the comments below and give us some ideas. But I kind of like the new Pollinate series. But in this series, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss all things HP Poly when it comes to Microsoft Teams rooms, devices, and other devices across our wonderful portfolio. Um, I'll be bringing across guests from the HP Poly team where we can talk about different things, talking about different devices, talking about the technical aspects, and pretty much anything else that you may want. So feel free to make sure to like, subscribe, and use the comments down below to let us know what you would love to see. Um, in this week's episode, I'm going to bring across my very good friend, Vincent Dahl. So let me just add him onto stage, and hopefully you guys can now see Vincent Dahl. Vincent, please give us a quick introduction to who you are and what you do on the team.
Good morning, Mo. Yes, thank you. So my name is Vincent Dahl. I'm the Microsoft Solution Architect for the EMEA region. I also have the honor of running the Solution Architect team because there's more than just me, obviously. And well, that's pretty much who I am. And
That's you.
today we'll be talking about devices. So yay, I'm
Yes.
very well equipped to do that, as you can see.
Absolutely. Every time I see Vincent, I get super jealous, especially when he has video switched on because he has an amazing, amazing setup behind him. So maybe on one episode, what we'll do is we'll give you a brief demo in terms of what Vincent's home office setup actually looks like. But in this week's episode, we are going to be talking devices. And I think we're going to be talking about something which is really important, right? So the minute you've bought your brand new shiny X52 device or a X series device from Poly, and you're setting it up. So you've already gone through kind of what the room looks like and which devices are ideal for that room. And let's say in this example, we're picking, I don't know, a Poly X52 because it's the latest device to hit the market. Once you've powered it up and you've got it up and running, what are the next things? What are the tips and tricks, Vince, that you would recommend for our installers and even customers for that matter to actually go in and set up on the device? What would you recommend?
Well, very good question. First of all, let's make a small distinction, between one device or more than one. If you have one device, what I'm going to explain today will pretty much guide you through the lines of easy setup. If you have multiple, we have a platform called PolyLens, which we'll discuss in a future series, and that will help you do more than one through policies and automation and stuff like that. So today it's going to be really simple about one device out of the box. And the first thing I want to do is access that device, right? I take it out of the box, I plug everything in, I power it on. And once it's powered on, I want to go into sort of the basic settings of the device. And to do that, I will use my web browser, which, oh, there it is. Cool. So what am I doing on my web browser? Well, first thing I'll be doing is I'll be entering the IP address of the device.
So I'm going to stop you there. A lot of times people get worried or people don't know what the IP address is for their device, right? It happens to me all the time. I've got 1,000,001 different devices connected. And half the time I'm like, man, what is the IP address without actually going into like the Wi-Fi router or whatever? Do we have an easy way to actually figure out what the IP address is for this newly installed device?
Well, yes, we do. And again, really good question, of course. So let me just pull in the TC8 controller. That's the little controller. You can see two of them on the left side there. Those are TC10s, but sort of the same principle. Let me pull that into the screen. This is the TC8 controller of my Studio X50. Now, as you can see, it's already signed into Teams, but what I'm about to show you will work in any state of the controller. If you go with your finger to the right side of the screen, as you can see me do with my mouse, and then you basically grab it and pull it to the left, you get this little pop-up menu. And the little pop-up menu is really important. You can switch your device to device mode. You can open environmental controls. Oh, I'm sorry. See, there's a timer. Camera settings are there, but also the general settings button. And if I click that one, what I'll get is some sort of, well, short little list of amongst others, IP addresses. So right here, I can see the IP address is the 167. I
Super
can
simple.
also take note of the serial number. And that is important. Why is it important, Mo? Remind me.
You're going to see in a second, right? So we'll show you. So yeah, do take note of that serial number. Super, super important. So you've got the IP address there and you've got your serial number. What's next?
Especially the last 6 digits of the serial number, because
Got it.
those are the initial password of the device. So the first time out of the box, that's the password it's asking. So once you have that, then let me just flip that away again. There we go. Back on my device, once you have that, you're going into the browser, and I'm going to show you my X52, which is the 114. Now, if I open that up, I might get a warning that it's not secure browsing. You know how to click through it. And then I have, well, the username is admin, and the password is, as I said earlier, the last 6 digits of the serial number. The system
Cool.
is going to ask you to change that password immediately. So I have a different password. It's very hard
And
to
that is super important, right? You know, many installers will not change the default password. So obviously security, change the default password. But remember, the last 6 digits of that serial number tend to be the password to get into your Teams Rooms and Android device.
the
Right,
default
what do we have here?
one. This screen on the top will give you a pop-up saying, hey, you got to change your password first. So that's the first thing to do. Now, obviously, I'm not doing that anymore. But the second thing to do, and well, maybe I'm saying I'm not doing that, but of course, changing the password is somewhere in the general settings. Let me just, I think it's the system settings. No, it's not. Shoot, well, it's in there somewhere. It's definitely not there.
No worries.
See, I always use the security, obviously.
There you go.
Obviously, there we go. General security, password change. Oh, well, I can't find it. Now, there's a little trick in the Studio X's. You have a search box, which is really performant. So if you just enter password, you will have Wi-Fi network password, provisioning password, local accounts. Oh, new password. Look at that. So if I click that, I get to the change password button. And of course, I knew where it was, but obviously I wanted to show you how good the search bar is as well.
I
So
love the demo.
hence the
It's
little
a
trick.
great way to show it. So
Uh,
changing password, got it. First thing you should do is change the password.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Second thing you have to do is check for updates. Now, normally when it comes out of the box, when you plug it in, the device will try to reach out to PolyLens and get the latest firmware automatically. But that doesn't mean it's always a safe bet to check for yourself. Now, remember, once your device is part of Microsoft Teams, you don't really have to worry about updates anymore. The Teams Admin Center or the Pro Management Portal will take care of those.
Yeah.
But right now, well, it's out of the box. It's not yet connected to your tenant, so it's up to you. And if you go into the general settings and into device management, that's where you can see the current software. You can see it right up there, not just for the device, by the way, also for the periphery, the TC10 in this case. You can see the firmware. Now, by default, it's going to say Polycom support site. And that's where it's going to find a new version. Look at that. There is a new version available. So if I were to click update now, right now, let's make sure that doesn't happen. But if I were to click update all right now, it would update both devices. If I connect an external camera, it will update that as well. So this one button will allow you to update everything.
Gotcha. And you know, obviously by default it should be on Polycom support site to have the latest public builds. Of course, what you had on earlier was a custom server, so that's probably more beta build. So if you are, you know, using beta pieces of software and you're working with Poly on them, you'd obviously enter the custom server URL in there in order to receive custom software. But for 99.9% of all deployments, Polycom support site is exactly what you should be using initially. And then, of course, Teams Admin Center will then kind of take over and deploy the certified versions of the software.
Exactly. The minute you connect your device to a Teams tenant, this is going to change automatically into Microsoft Teams device management, meaning the Teams Admin Center is now in charge. You can no longer see an update button. You don't see versions anymore. And this is definitely where you want to be when you're running Microsoft Teams.
Superb.
Now,
Superb.
I know for sake of time, we're almost at the end of this, but there's two more features I want to show because this is the 4.1's firmware. It's general available already. And there's two new features in there, which are really, really, really cool. The first one is the ability to set a perimeter. Now, before I show you where it is, let me just switch to a PowerPoint slide and show you what it does. So what you're looking at right here is a PowerPoint slide, and I'm going to play it and talk you through it. So two videos are visible. They're identical. They're taken with an X52, both of them. But the one on top obviously has perimeter active, and the one at the bottom has not. Now, you don't really see a difference. Both cameras are framing the people in the room. They're doing that very nicely. But look what just happened right now. Let me pause that. Because people are walking by the room, the one at the bottom is trying to show those people as well, and is changing the group framing, which is really, really annoying if you're sitting at home. The one on top does not. And the reason it does not reframe is because it knows exactly the floor plan of the room. It knows how deep it is, it knows how wide it is, and it knows that because you've set that up in the browser. Now, this
And
is
this is
not.
a sorry to chime in, Vincent, but this is a major problem, especially with these new office build outs that are made out of glass, right? As a classic example, what we see on this video, when it's made out of glass, sometimes the cameras can't figure out, are the people in the room or people outside of the room? Should they be in the room? And it tries to effectively frame all of them, whether they're outside or inside of the meeting, right?
Exactly. And most of the builders, of the OEM builders of video solutions, work with an exclusion zone. So they will allow you to basically color the glass red, and then nobody behind the glass will be shown. But in this example, if we were to use an exclusion zone, the poor lady would disappear as well because she would be behind the red color. Hence the introduction of perimeter. Now let me quickly show you where to do that. It's really, really simple. So back to the browser it is. Here's the mouse. And if I go into audio video, obviously, and then the video inputs, I have my internal camera setting. There you go. I can change the sharpness. I can change the way it's framing, whether tracking is automatic or not, the maximum zoom. But I also have this little checkbox, enable perimeter. If I click that, I get a whole new menu. And of course, it's by default for the US colleagues, but we prefer meters, obviously. So you can really say how deep the room is, how wide it is, and how big the little room is in front of the screen where you don't want the camera to track people. Now, this is useful in an enclosed room because you can give this, the measurements of the room, but it's also very useful in an open surface. You can say, hey, people beyond this point will no longer be zoomed into. People beyond this width point will no longer be zoomed into. So if you have an open space and you have a camera there, you can make sure that people passing by in the back will not be zoomed into. So pretty cool little feature.
That is great. And I guess, when I mean, this episode is really about those tips and tricks, out of box experiences when you've just received your device. And there's a really good chance, if you're an installer and you're installing, one of these devices with perimeter AI in there, you probably already have the dimensions for the room. If not, it's good practice to keep a measuring tape with you, right? If you set that device up and you set the dimensions of the room, you can effectively hand back to your customer, or if you're doing it yourself, and set up exactly what that perimeter looks like. So outside of that perimeter, the camera is not trying to track people as well. So this is amazing. I really love this. Of course, just simply having a bit of a browse through the settings that you're looking at right now, it looks like there's a ton of different options, and for people like us who are tech geeks that absolutely love tinkering with devices, this is like heaven. But I'm sure what we'll do is we'll make an effort to show more in-depth details in each section as part of this series as well. Vincent, we are pretty much out of time, so unfortunately we're going to have to say goodbye for this episode. Hopefully, you have enjoyed this first episode and given you a bit of a taster and a good tip in terms of changing passwords and setting up kind of what Perimeter AI looks like. We will, of course, in the coming weeks be releasing more videos. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you would love to see. And with that in mind, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to let Vincent say bye as well. And hopefully, we shall see you guys all next week. Vincent, over to you.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to do more sessions like this. Next time, like I said before, this was for one device. If you have more than one, we'll show you how to do more than one. Actually, I might have somebody in mind that is even better than I am to explain all that. And we'll tell you how to do sort of a mass deployment of devices. But that is for next time. So
Absolutely.
bye, you all.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon.